cats! Welcome back to another episode of CVTV.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Drew.
And we're your CVTV anchors.
While a lot of us celebrated Halloween last weekend, most of us don't know the history of it.
So let's hear from Sally and Colin to learn more about Halloween.
I've smackled every smackeroo. Happy Halloween to you, poo boy!
Everyone is familiar with Halloween, at least the modern-day reincarnation of an ancient holiday. Halloween started as an ancient Celtic festival originating somewhere between Ireland, the UK, and northern France. The reason for its celebration was the end of summer and the harvest and the oncoming winter. Where did the costumes come from, you might ask? Well, 2,000 years ago, the reason for the costumes was much different. People would celebrate by dancing and singing around bonfires in costumes that would hopefully ward off evil spirits. Boo! Your costume sucks. As more and more people began to celebrate this holiday moving into the 10th century, it became part of the Catholic Church. Hell yeah, no demons can ever get us now. But you're performing an exorcism right now. Hell yeah. The church renamed it from Samhain to All Saints' Day and dedicated November 1st to be the day of celebrations. They then declared November 2nd as All Souls' Day. Many people today believe that the Christian church was trying to rid any remnants of Celtic traditions from its religion. Moving forward a few more years, people began calling it All Hallows' Day or All Hallowmas. This was the second iteration of the name, which took a few more stops on its way to becoming Halloween. On the next stop, it was called All Hallows' Eve, which was celebrated on October 31st like it does now, shortly after becoming Halloween. The beloved name of the notoriously scary holiday we all know now. Now you may be wondering where trick-or-treating came along in this timeline. Well, we have arrived in the Middle Ages, where the big news is that the Eastern Roman Empire has fallen, the Renaissance is beginning, and the poor began asking for gifts from the rich on Halloween. For this, the rich would hand out soul cakes in return for the promise that they would pray for their health. This was adopted by children who would go door to door asking for gifts and food, and this was the earliest iteration of trick-or-treating. Halloween made its way to America through the Catholic-dominated Maryland, which was small but marked the beginning of Halloween in America. When it became widely celebrated was when the Irish potato famine struck and brought millions of immigrants to America. The Irish kept celebrating the same way they would if they were at home, which spread to the Americans and became part of our culture.
Speaking of Halloween, last week we had Trick or Treat Street here at CV.
Let's check it out.
Trick or Treat Street is an event where different clubs will decorate a classroom and then kids can come in dressed up and go trick-or-treating around to each of the different classrooms.
So we're helping out with like a booth for the CV student media and like helping pass out candy to kids.
My role is to hand out candy to all the cute kids in costumes, yeah.
I think we do. It was really fun to plan and like figure out a theme and all that stuff. And it's super fun seeing all the kids' costumes.
Yeah, because I love seeing all the cute kids in their costumes.
We were able to ask some kids what they thought of Trick or Treat Street this year.
I love it because it's fun and you get candy. I mean, it's okay because also it makes you have a lot of cavities. Smarties because they're sour. My favorite candy is probably Twix because I just like caramel.
After not having Trick or Treat Street last year, we are glad that we were able to bring it back this year.
As some of you may know, November is Native American Heritage Month.
Let's hear from CVTV staffer Maya as she cooks us some traditional food and tells us more about the month.
Welcome back to Cooking with Maya. This week I'll be cooking chicken, corn, and chili soup for you while informing you about a national holiday called Native American Heritage Month. You can find the full recipe on cookingclassy.com. Many Americans don't know that the U.S. has a designated holiday for Native Americans. Every November from the 1st to the 30th, we celebrate the culture and heritage of these remarkable Americans who deeply enrich the quality and character of our nation. During the month of November, we also celebrate Native American Heritage Day on November 26th. America is a vast land of many cultures dating back thousands of years to the original inhabitants of the land. History, heritage, or culture of Native Americans, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians are part of every national park and communities across the country today. Every November during Native American Heritage Month, And throughout the year, the National Park Service and our partners share history and the continuing culture of America's indigenous people. All over the U.S., there are government-protected national reserves that states government and private-owned businesses cannot affect the land and build onto it. Violent crime rates on Native American reservations are 2.5 times the national average, while on some individual reservations is 20 times the national average of violent crime. One case of violent crime against Indigenous people is the missing and murdered Indigenous women. The missing and murdered Indigenous women human rights crisis disproportionately affects Indigenous peoples in Canada and the United States. Women and children are being kidnapped and murdered in the region, and it is a common theme for the government to do nothing about it. Indigenous people don't always feel safe in their own grounds. Native Americans deserve much more respect and recognition than they have received. We can all become better human beings by listening to other stories and learning something from it. This month and every month of the year, you should support a local business, raise awareness, and respect the culture of this amazing group of people.
Another fall holiday that a lot of our community celebrates is Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead.
Let's see how our CV community celebrates Day of the Dead.
So at CV, I am a Spanish teacher. It's my first year here, but I have been teaching for 19 years. Basically, my classroom is a Day of the Dead theme all year long. I just love the colors, and so I emphasize when it's time for Day of the Dead, I have it all ready, and so I emphasize the colorful Katrinas, the meaning of the Day of the Dead, the significance. So when I started teaching 19 years ago, it was one of the celebrations that I focused the most on because of the significance, the meaning of the Day of the Dead, and because I love the colorful, it's a very colorful celebration. I would teach my students the importance of not to see it as something weird, but to see it as something that another culture celebrates. It's their traditions, their beliefs, and to accept it as well.
Drunk driving is something that affects our whole community.
Let's see what the CV officers have to say about it.
What's your name and can you spell it?
Owen, O-W-E-N.
What's your role at CV?
My role at CV, I'm a student.
How has drunk driving affected you?
I saw a guy drift into a barbed wire fence and it wasn't good and he was clearly intoxicated. I think drunk driving occurs because people don't appreciate the full value of being intoxicated and driving.
My name is Officer Tori Bredehoft. My last name is Bredehoeft.
All right, and what is your role in Castle Rock Police Department?
I am currently assigned to the patrol division and have been for the last 2 years.
So when you're doing this, have you seen drinking and driving amongst teenagers?
I have. Not as much as I've seen adults in Castle Rock, but there is an abundance of it.
Are you seeing more drinking and driving accidents in the last year than you have before?
Yes, I think that there's a couple factors to it. There's probably a societal factor where after COVID, people are feeling the need to find a release, find an escape, or are enjoying the fact that we can go out and about now. And I think that that's causing more drinking and less inhibition when it comes to the idea of driving.
And what is the legal limit for teenagers in the state of Colorado?
So if you're under 21, the legal limit is only a .02, which is only one drink. As opposed to the adult legal limit, if it's driving while ability impaired, it's a .05. If it's a DUI, it's a .08.
All right.
That's all from CVTV this week.
To see more from us, check us out at our website at cvstudentmedia.com and our Instagram at cvstudentmedia.
And once again, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Drew.
And tune in next week for CVTV.